Here I am today, delighted to be joined by Alex Jones. Alex, how are you?
I'm very well, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Lovely to see you. We were just reminiscing about kind of the last time we were chatting, which seemed a very long time ago. But
I think it was, I'm
well,
going to say 12 years.
I'm not going to mention it because it makes us feel both very old. So.
Stop it. You haven't aged at all.
Listen, thanks for joining. Let me ask, kind of, as the longest running host of the One Show, you've interviewed all sorts of people. What do you think takes to kind of to connect to the person that you're interviewing and actually get something good out of them?
Well, I think, one of the reasons that I can do my job, I think, is because I never get starstruck. And I think that's kind of thanks to the very, very solid grounding that mum and dad gave me.
Mm,
You know, But I mean, having interviewed tons and tons of people by now, I honestly think whether somebody's there to talk about a new book or a new play or a new film, or whether they're there to talk about something amazing they've done in their community or, just a fantastic achievement. I think everybody's got an interesting story to tell. And famous people for me are not always the most interesting.
yes.
Don't tell anybody
No,
that.
I would. I'll keep it very secret. That's
Yeah.
that one.
But I
So
think that's the thing. It's all about conversation, isn't it?
yeah,
And just because you're a Hollywood A-lister doesn't mean that you're fantastic at conversation. And very often these actors, the more famous they are, unless you're like Tom Hanks, who's an absolute gem and so lovely, and George Clooney, lovely. But
yeah,
some of these actors, name no names, Jared Leto, um, can be really tricky because they're not comfortable in their own skin.
yeah.
So the conversation becomes difficult. Whereas, if you've just got a lovely person who is kind of the shining light in their community, often the conversation is much better and much more interesting. So it's not always the most famous people that make for good interviews.
And tell me, kind of, is this something you can read immediately by their body language, or kind of, or and something you can sense because of your experience, or is it you just are thrown
Yeah,
in and you?
I think the best quality in anybody really is warmth, Um, and sometimes you can sense, within seconds, we get introduced to the guests in the studio, and then they sort of come in, they sit down, and instantly, I think you can really detect whether they want to play ball or
Yeah,
not. And I have to say, Nick, like 98% of people are really generous and kind and warm. And then there's 2 or 3% that just don't exude the same warmth at all. But I think it is body language.
mm,
Some people are there because they've been told that you are going to talk about a project and that is it. They don't want to be there. They're just sort of ticking off a box.
yeah.
But for some people, they enjoy being there. They enjoy meeting new people. They enjoy the conversation. And that makes for a much better show.
And so tell me, kind of, if I now take it to, I suppose, the stage when you're hosting a ceremony or when you're kind of facilitating an event, and you might be interviewing this person from an industry you don't know. Kind of again, what are you looking to get from them in order to break them down to get a really great interview out of them or a really good bit with them?
Well, I think in terms of events and awards, lots
Mm,
of the people there haven't been interviewed before necessarily. And, there's a nervousness in the room because it might be their biggest night of the year. There might be, 100 to 1,000 people in that room celebrating one particular industry. But actually, each individual is nervous because they're with people they don't know. They're there to represent their company. They're
mm,
waiting to see whether they've won an award, and they can be quite nervous. But what these events should also be is really good fun. So if somebody comes on stage and they're a little bit nervous, I'll always hopefully make them feel like, I don't know, put them at ease, arm around, you accept that they're a little bit nervous, get the room to applaud. I don't know. It's just, you want them to feel that they're on top of the world, really. Um,
Is it something that comes naturally to you, or is it something you have to kind of you are conscious of the fact that you want to get them to feel at ease?
um, I remember before I worked in television, I mean, I used to work in lots of various different industries. And, these nights would be the biggest nights of the year, wouldn't they? You'd get the new outfit, you'd get the new shoes, the
Yes.
new bag, you were there, you were ready. And for people who attend these awards, very often it is the biggest night. They work so hard during the year. And then this is the treat, this is the payoff. And your job is to make that the best night of the year for that person and all those people in the room. So to just make sure that the atmosphere is very inclusive, very warm, very fun. I don't always stick to the script. I'll do I'll do the mechanics, of course, but I'll always add a little bit to make sure that I interview everybody who wins, have a photograph, whatever they want, really. I'm really flexible, but I think if you keep in mind that it needs to be the best night you can give them, you're on to a bit of a winner.
So can I ask, kind of, when you have someone and you have maybe 15 seconds with them before you're interviewing them or something like that, and they are nervous, do you have like a magic phrase or something that you tell them to calm them down and get them in the kind of get them focused?
I think, relatability is what joins us all, isn't it? So instead of talking about what they're there to talk about, which would make them even more nervous, I think I'd probably just say, something like, oh gosh, it's been a really bad day with the children. Have you got children? Or you just find something in common. And that really, really helps. I saw a woman and she was sort of fiddling with this necklace. She was obviously really, really nervous. And I said, God, that's a really nice necklace. And then she went, oh, thank you. This is actually something I've had after my mother who passed away. And I was like, God, it's really lovely. She said, look, it's a locket. And she showed me the pictures inside. You can always connect on something, but it's about looking at somebody, seeing that they're nervous and being able to find something to put them at ease that isn't maybe about why they're there, to promote something new on the show, or in an event situation to win an award or to come up to represent the company. You have to find something that makes it human.
I love that. Listen, one last question for you. Like, obviously, you are kind of the consummate person to interview. So, how are you at being the interviewee? Do you enjoy it, or do you kind of?
Oh, Nick, I absolutely love it. It takes the pressure off. I'll say it again. I absolutely love it. It takes the pressure off entirely. And you can just chat, can't you? No pressure. I mean, you've probably got a few questions there lined up for me at the minute.
Trying to ask them and do my best and muddling through.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, it's nice to be in control of a situation, which is what I do every evening, I suppose. But equally, I only come away when I think it's been a nice exchange both ways. It's really important that the guests have enjoyed the experience as much as we have. And so, interviewer or interviewee, as long as the atmosphere is warm and nice, and it's an exchange as opposed to a wall of questions, a hammering, that doesn't make for a nice evening.
Alex, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely chatting as always. Have a great day.
Oh, it's really nice to see you, Nick. You take care.
Okay, cheers.